Today we're going to talk about the rhetorical situations. These are those situations that you will encounter when you are giving a speech. They are the audience, the topic, the occasion, time, and your setting. Let's take each individually. We'll begin with the audience. One of the first considerations is your audience's age. You're not going to talk to a group of elementary students the same way you would talk to college students. Your vocabulary is going to change. So will your topics. You might talk about saving for a new car if you're dealing with people that are in high school, because talking about saving for retirement is not going to connect with them. However, if your audience is older, you may be able to address topics like saving for retirement and IRA accounts. The next consideration is gender. Let's take the topic of date rape. If your audience is all women, it's going to be handled differently than if your audience is all men. In women, you would talk about how to be proactive in avoiding date rape, and in men, you would want to talk about reasons for avoiding that. If you have a mix, then you would have to cover both topics, so it's important to know both the age and the gender of your audience. The next consideration is income, and we're going to combine that with education, because the two often do go together, but not always. If you have people that have high incomes and high education, you're not going to be able to use a lot of slang in your delivery. You're going to need to have higher vocabulary and use more standard language. If you have lower income or lower education, then they may be more comfortable with you using real talk and not using the higher standard language. Experience is another consideration. If you're talking about rebuilding a car to a group of people who pretty much just know how to drive one, then the way you cover a topic of rebuilding an engine is going to be completely different than the way you would discuss that topic if you were dealing with a group of NASA engineers. So knowing your audience before you start preparing your speech is a good way to narrow down what it is that you want to cover. Our next one is the topic itself. You want something that is researchable, that people have done research on and they are experts so that you can pull from them. Or you want to pick a topic in which you are the expert. Your topic has to relate to your audience. Let's go back to finances. Helping high school students save money for a car is going to be relatable. Telling somebody 55 how to save money for a car when they have a PhD is probably not relatable, and they will feel like you're talking down to them. They will also lose interest in your speech, and your goal is to give your audience something that they can walk away feeling like their time was well spent. You want to supply new information. To talk to a group of people who are in the oil business, you probably don't want to tell them about how fracking has increased the amount of oil supplies. That's something they already know. Your job as a speaker is to supply new information or a different perspective. The occasion also affects how we deliver our information. Is it going to be serious or is it funny? Is it casual or is it very formal? And that also affects your appearance. You would not want to show up to give a speech at a funeral dressed in your shorts and a t-shirt and make a lot of jokes, unless that fits the type of funeral that it is and the type of person that you are doing the eulogy for. The same is true of a wedding. Sometimes they're more casual, sometimes they're more formal. You have to make sure that you are fitting the occasion. A speech that you do in class does not have to be as formal as a speech that you would give to a group of 500 people who paid money to see you. Time is an important consideration. There is nothing worse than somebody who either goes way over their time or way under. If you are way under, then you have wasted people's time that they set aside to listen to you. And if you are way over, you have also wasted their time because they have other things to do. In our classroom setting, it's important that you stick to the time limits, because when we have set aside 7 minutes per speech and you take 15, you've just used somebody else's time. The setting is something that you have to consider. Are you going to have a podium? Or are you going to need to walk around? Is it a big room or a small room where your audience is up close to you? Will you use a microphone? Will the microphone be on a podium, or are you going to have to use just your voice? These things help determine whether you're going to use notes or have a full script. Generally, it is better to use notes than a script, but in very formal situations where it's important that every word be exactly right, a script is much better. Audio visuals help your audience stay focused on your message, but you don't want an audio visual to be the message. You are the message. The audio visual is just there as a reinforcement. So, when you are preparing your speech, these are the 5 rhetorical situations that you have to consider. Who is your audience? What is your topic? What is the occasion? How much time do you have? And what is the setting that you are going to be using so that you know how to practice? Those are the rhetorical situations, and you must consider them every time that you go into a public speaking situation.